Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another video on the channel. I know it has been about a month since I last uploaded. I apologize for that. A lot has gotten in the way. Many things have happened. Work, as I mentioned, really started to ramp up. Things happen. I apologize, but I'm back. Back with another video. Got a few murmurs from a few people who said, "Where are the videos, man?" I apologize for the long delay. I am back now. Unfortunately, I'm back towards the end of the tournament, a tournament that has been absolutely incredible, a tournament that has had upsets, a tournament that has had near misses, near scares, a tournament that has had superstars performing, a tournament that has had breakout players. From Erling Haaland in Norway, ramping their way to the quarterfinals, beating Brazil in their wake, Vinicius Jr. having a great tournament after poor performances in the Seleção jersey, Neymar having his final ever goal in a World Cup with the Brazil national team, Cristiano Ronaldo finally getting a knockout goal against Croatia, subsequently getting knocked out in the round of 16 against Lamine Yamal, Spain, Rodri rolling back the years to the Ballon d'Or season, playing at the best level that we've seen from a midfielder in this tournament, and a man who's challenging him for that crown, Jude Bellingham, doing likewise. An incredible game in an incredible atmosphere against Mexico, knocking out one of the co-hosts. Canada falling to Morocco, who were exhilarating in this tournament up until their elimination to probably the most exciting team in the tournament, being France, in which Kylian Mbappe shows us that this is our generation's R9. He may not be doing it with Real Madrid. He may not win the Champions League. He may not win the Ballon d'Or right now, but Kylian Mbappe turns up for France. Michael Olise turned up for France, albeit the performances started to waver once they got farther into the competition. And ultimately, they met their match in Spain, a Spanish team that I came into the tournament very high on. You guys saw it in my prediction video. I can't remember exactly whether I had Spain winning the whole tournament, but I had them going minimum semifinals, if not the final. And we have our final. And Spain have been underwhelming, in my opinion, throughout the tournament. But I think that performance against France really showed you that this is a team that is rightfully the European champions. And likewise, on the other side of the bracket, Argentina looked shaky throughout the tournament. Lionel Messi, we'll come to talk about him. Lionel Messi rolling back the years. Guys, Argentina, time after time, looking like they're on the precipice of defeat. Watched the Cape Verde game with my uncle. Watched the Egypt game with friends. Went to the Atlanta Fan Festival. Went to Philadelphia, saw Ghana. It's been an incredible month of football. It's been an incredible festival. Been to New York. Saw the atmosphere that was there. The England fans, the Brazil fans in Times Square. It's been top. The World Cup has been incredible. And now we have our final. But before we get into that, before we start talking about that, before we talk about the semifinals, if you guys are new to the channel, you're coming at a very awkward time. If you like the videos, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on the whole World Cup as it's gone. Of course, I haven't made a video on most of the World Cup games since about the first game week. So let me know what you thought about the games. What did you think about the co-hosts? What did you think about the whole Fuller and Balogun situation? Let me know all your favorite moments from this World Cup, your least favorite moments. Who were you supporting? Did your team meet up to expectation? Did they not? Why do you think that was? And who do you think is going to win the final? Because it is all set up. It is going to be Lamine Yamal versus Lionel Messi in the World Cup final. That picture that we saw of Lionel Messi bathing a young Lamine Yamal, a baby Lamine Yamal, the script writers really couldn't do much more, could they? The finalissima that we were promised that was abruptly canceled is now our World Cup final. And I want to start off with Spain. And I said it briefly when I did an overview of all the things I've seen throughout this World Cup. Spain didn't start the tournament very well, in my opinion. That 0-0 draw against Cape Verde, who actually went on throughout the tournament to show us that they are a proper team. And I told you guys they are a proper team. I didn't think they'd finish above Uruguay, but they did. Going undefeated in the group stage and subsequently just losing out to Argentina in extra time. They started off pretty poorly against Cape Verde. But then as the tournament went on, Lamine Yamal gets that goal against Saudi Arabia. It feels like they're starting to warm up. And then they have another disappointing game against Uruguay. And you're sitting there wondering, when are Spain really going to start clicking? Lamine Yamal comes out talking about, I prefer the knockout stages. The group stage isn't important to me. And the group stage is not the most important part. And even in some of his videos that I watch on his YouTube channel, he talked about how you need to grow into these tournaments. And I think it's very important to understand that these international tournaments, you grow into them. There are 5 to 7 game tournaments. You grow into these tournaments. You don't need to hit your peak in the group stage or in the round of 16. You need to hit your peak at the semifinal. You need to hit your peak in the final. And the performances throughout the tournament, have slightly pointed towards that. I think Lamine Yamal as a whole has not been at his best level in this tournament, unfortunately, because I really do believe this is the best player in the world. But Spain have really just been clicking into gear as the tournament has wore on. I think the round of 32 performance against Austria was comfortable, was pretty easy. And that's how it's been for Spain throughout the tournament. The round of 16 game against Portugal, though it was just a 1-0 victory, Mikel Merino, who came up clutch in back-to-back knockout performances, both against Belgium and Portugal. It was comfortable against Portugal. Never at any point did you feel like Portugal were causing a threat. Cristiano Ronaldo getting knocked out in his final ever World Cup, and it was a shame. And to touch on that very quickly, I think it's a shame the way Cristiano Ronaldo is going out, because for me, this is probably the second best player I've seen playing the sport. And I speak to you speak to people younger than you speak to people in the next generation coming up, and the way they talk about Ronaldo, and you can't blame them, because the Ronaldo they're familiar with is the Ronaldo of Man United, the late Man United, the Ronaldo towards the end of Juventus, the Ronaldo that was kind of pathetic in the 2022 World Cup, the Ronaldo that's gone to Saudi. That's the Ronaldo they know. They don't know about the Ronaldo that was wrecking havoc at Man United, wrecking havoc at Real Madrid. So I think it's kind of a shame the way he went out in this tournament. The players didn't fight for him. The manager didn't fight for him. I'm a Messi guy. You guys know this. I'm a Barcelona fan. But you have to respect what Ronaldo's done for the game. I think this was one tournament too far for him. I think that Euros should have been a clear sign that it's time to hang up those boots. Not saying that Ronaldo's the only person who played bad in this tournament. That midfield of Portugal was horrible, and Spain completely dominated them. And that midfield has been a consistent trend for Spain throughout this tournament. They've completely controlled games they've played. They've only conceded one goal coming up into this final, and that was against Charles de Ketelaere in the Belgium game where they won 2-1. And though the attacking areas haven't been at their best, which in my opinion is really down to Nico Williams not being fit, Baena being next to useless on that left-hand side, and Mikel Oyarzabal being pretty patchy in this tournament. But I think Mikel Oyarzabal is one of those players that you need runners around him. You need players who make runs off the ball. You need players who offer something in behind that allow him to drift into those spaces where you're not really paying attention to him. But when you have someone like Baena on the left side, it's pretty easy to pay attention to Mikel Oyarzabal. Baena doesn't really offer you anything. He wants the ball to feet, but he's not particularly the best dribbler, and he can't run in behind. And then you have Lamine on the other side, who has grown into the tournament. I think his performance against France was his best performance of the tournament. I think he facilitated a lot of good things for Spain. I think Pedro Porro, who's been incredible in this entire tournament, I think his performances are down to Lamine Yamal opening up space for him. I said it many times at Barcelona. If we gave Lamine Yamal a competent right back, Lamine Yamal would do wonders with him. And I don't think it's a coincidence that Pedro Porro has had a good tournament, because Lamine Yamal drags 2, sometimes even 3 players towards his side. And if the passes are swift enough, if the passes are quick enough, if the idea is there, you can play through the opposition. Pedro Porro, you saw it for that second goal against France. It was easy. It was comfortable. The midfield areas in this tournament, you've seen that they've kind of transitioned from Pedri, Rodri, and Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo, I just want to say, has been incredible in this tournament. A player who doesn't give us this level at Barcelona, but with Spain, you know he's going to perform. Pedri, and unfortunately, you guys know how much I love Pedri. Jude Bellingham this tournament has been ridiculous, right? That debate continues to rage on. I think people need to stop that debate. I had one of my good friends texting me literally the minute the game ended against was in Mexico. He said, Jude or Pedri. And I keep on telling you guys, they do different things on a football pitch. And I think what Pedri does on a football pitch is very similar to what Rodri does. They like to keep the ball. They like to set the tempo. They like to pick up the ball from the defensive areas. They then move it onto players who can cause a bit more havoc going forward. But Rodri does it with a bit more physicality. So having the both of them in the same team doesn't really do anything. It's kind of redundant. So I think it was the right decision from De La Fuente to introduce Fabian Ruiz, a back-to-back Champions League winner. I mean, look at the players you're bringing off the bench for Spain. And you have Pedri now sitting on the bench for Fabian Ruiz. And I think it's the right decision, because Fabian Ruiz offers you the dynamism that Pedri is not going to offer you. Offers a forward-thinking aspect that Pedri is not really going to offer you. Yes, Pedri is neat and tidy on the ball, but sometimes he can lack that ability to play a risky pass, similar to somebody like Martin Odegaard, who in my opinion, again, in many of Norway's games, yes, he keeps the ball, yes, he keeps it ticking, but he's not playing those risky passes that he needs to sometimes. He's kind of slowing the game down when the game needs to be sped up. That's what's happening with Spain. That was what was happening with Pedri in that team. But I think now with Fabian Ruiz coming in, it's been incredible. And the man at that base in that midfield and the defense as well, Cubarsí and Laporte, they've been top notch. Cubarsí, I've kept on telling people, Cubarsí is a top center back, man. If you don't see how good Cubarsí is, this guy is 19 years old, Maybe because Lamine Yamal takes all the headlines as the main young player from La Masia in Barcelona. Pau Cubarsí is a top player. Top player. He can play the ball from out of the back. He's good in wide channels. He's able to drive with the ball into the midfield. He's a modern day center back. Yes, he may be a little bit flimsy. Yes, he's probably not the best in aerial duels. But if he's in a team that keeps the ball as well as Spain do or as Barcelona do, you don't need to do all that. But I think people have been desensitized because Hansi Flick plays our defensive line on the halfway line. So when Pau Cubarsí is having to run 30, 40 yards every single attack, of course he's going to look as bad as he has probably towards the start of the season that just ended. I think he started to grow as the season went on. But I think this performances in this tournament have showed you how good Pau Cubarsí is. And the same goes for Aymeric Laporte. The whole defense of Spain has been solid. Marco Correa secured his move to Real Madrid. I don't know why Barcelona allowed that signing to happen as easily as it did. I felt like that was a player that we desperately needed to buy. I know they're saying that we might go back for Joao Cancelo and sign him on a permanent deal. Marco Correa is a better player than Joao Cancelo in 2026. Marco Correa is a better player than Alejandro Balde in 2026. We're here spending, 80 million on Anthony Gordon, 30 million on Adeyemi, but we won't spend 60 million on a left back that we actually need. And now he's going to Real Madrid. He's going to make them a better team. And you saw it in that performance against France. Locked up Ousmane Dembele. Locked him up. Incredible performance against Ousmane Dembele. The French attack cannot do anything in that game. And that was down to a large part Rodri Hernandez in the midfield. France could not lay a finger on Spain in that game, and that was mainly down to Rodri Hernandez. And Rodri has been incredible throughout this tournament. He's been able to dictate play. He's been physical. He's been winning the ball back. He's been reading what the opposition want to do. He's known when to move the ball forward. He's known when to calm the game down, dictate it, drop deep, play as an extra center back, drive into the midfield. He's been incredible. And in that game against France, he was the one setting the pace. He was the one showing all these midfielders, oh, you think you're a real midfielder? You think you're one of the best? Vitinha, you think you're one of the best because you've won 2 back-to-back Champions Leagues? I'll show you real levels. That's what Rodri has done. Throughout this tournament, that's what Rodri has done. For me, he's been Spain's best player. He's been Spain's most consistent player. He did the same thing in Euro 2024, and they criticized him when he won that Ballon d'Or. They said he didn't deserve it. These performances in this World Cup have showed you that Rodri is of that ilk. Maybe in 30, 40 years, you'll compare him to other players in the past, the Zidanes, the R9s, and say, is he in that level? He might not be that level. But guys, what we're seeing from Rodri in this World Cup, this guy is still the best midfielder in the world. When fully fit, still the best midfielder in world football. And going into that final, admittedly, against the France team, in my opinion, I didn't think they had any chance. Because I look at the way that Spain were playing throughout the tournament. I look at the way that France were playing throughout the tournament. And I want to quickly touch on France because I haven't been able to talk about them. Guys, that French team was scary. Look, as a person who's been supporting Spain the whole tournament, I was dreading that game since the minute I saw the bracket. Because you look at their performance against Sweden, comfortable, dynamic, exhilarating, exciting, entertaining. Elise was pulling strings. Ousmane Dembele was looking like Ousmane Ballon d'Or. Ousmane Ballon d'Or. Kylian Mbappe, I mean, goodness me. I could make a whole video on just Kylian Mbappe in the World Cup. 20 goals in 20 games. Still has the opportunity to leave with a golden boot right behind Lionel Messi in the all-time leading goal scoring chart. And he's going to go into probably, 2 more World Cups in his career? The guy's a phenom. Phenom. Michael Elise, his first ever World Cup. The boy showed up. Of course, he didn't score any goals. I believe he registered 5 assists. More assists than a lot of greats in this tournament. A lot of greats. Pulling the strings time after time. They had that abysmal game against Paraguay. I'm not saying France themselves were abysmal, but the spectacle was absolutely atrocious. But they somehow pulled it out of the bag. Somehow they pulled it out of the bag. Kylian Mbappe once again. And I think the game that really had me scared was that Morocco game. Because I really rate Morocco. I watched their game against Netherlands. They were the better team for the entire game. Though I do think that was down to Ronald Koeman. And I told you guys that when Netherlands get knocked out, it will be because of Ronald Koeman. They were incredible against the Netherlands. They were incredible against Canada. But against France, my goodness, they could not do anything. That defense of Saliba and Upamecano was sniffing danger at every single moment. The midfield of Rabiot and Koune was very good. I have to give them credit. Rabiot gets a lot of stick, but they were very good throughout the tournament. France looked like a well-oiled machine, pretty much destined to win another World Cup, their second in 3 years, and reach their third World Cup final in a row. But as Lamine Yamal said, it's either we beat them 3 times in a row or they go to 3 World Cup finals in a row. And the former proved to be true. Lamine Yamal is now going to face off against Lionel Messi. I hope Lamine hits another level in this final, man. We haven't gotten that vintage Lamine Yamal performance, in my opinion, throughout this tournament. I don't even think it's my opinion. I think it's just true. Though I do think, as I said in that game against France, I think he did his job to a T. It didn't feel like he was forcing anything. It didn't feel like he was rushing. It didn't feel like he was looking for a moment. He let the game come to him. He took his moments when he needed to. He drove past Didier when he needed to. He played the ball to his teammates when he needed to. He came inside, allowed Pedro Porro to go on the overlap, come inside when he needed to. It really looked like a mature performance from Lamine Yamal. No thought about what can I do for myself. More, how are we going to get to the World Cup final? And there they are, and they're going to meet up against Lionel Messi's Argentina. And guys, I'm already at 16 minutes. I could make this video 40 minutes long if I talk about Messi and Argentina as much as I want to. Honestly, where do you even start? The game against Algeria at the very beginning of the tournament, coming in, hat trick. Saw what Kylian Mbappe did, said hat trick. Also, that period where we had Mbappe, Haaland, and Messi all playing in the same days, and Harry Kane right after. Oh, that was brilliant. The World Cup is the best, man. Lionel Messi starts off the tournament in the group stages. He's pretty much farming goals, but you all felt like, yeah, you expect this from Messi. You're playing Algeria, you're playing Austria, you're playing Jordan. With all due respect to these nations, this is easy pickings. What are you going to do in the quarterfinals? What are you going to do in the round of 16? What are you going to do in the knockouts? The guy's still turning up, guys. Lionel Messi is 39 years old, guys. I remember watching Lionel Messi in 2011. That was 15 years ago. That was a whole different time in my life. I was a little kid, starry-eyed little kid coming up. I didn't know what the world had to offer, but I knew Lionel Messi was there. And now I'm an adult, working, pretty much done with school, in the next chapter of this thing we call life. And Lionel Messi is still doing it, man. Lionel Messi is still doing it. You can give credit to the team. The relentless mindset of this squad is impeccable. This is a team that doesn't know when to give up. They showed it against England. They showed it against Cape Verde. They showed it against Egypt. But I think the main guy that you need to point to time after time, it's Lionel Messi. It's Lionel Messi. And coming into this tournament, again, I will be very honest to you. I did not expect Messi to do what he's doing. I thought Argentina would go far, yes, because I knew they had a decent run. And a lot of people, we can sit here and talk about the whole rigged allegations and talk about, oh, Argentina had an easy path. I don't really care too much for these sort of stupid narratives, in my opinion, because I don't think, and then you have people talking about morality police, or why are you supporting Argentina as this type of guy or from this country? I'm like, guys, if we were to do a morality police with every country in the World Cup, nobody would support anybody apart from their own nation. So what are we talking about here? Argentina have gone through, and in most games they've played, there has been controversy. And I don't think there should be controversy. Every single decision that has been made up until this point that Argentina are in has been correct. The only decision for me, in my opinion, that I look at and I say, hey, you've gone away with one there, was the Messi stamp on the Algeria player's Achilles in the very first game. Everything other than that has been perfectly fine. But I think people have kind of brainwashed themselves into this extent because they don't like Argentina, and that's perfectly fine. If you don't like Argentina as a nation, if you don't like Argentina as a team, they're dogs, they're thugs. I get it, right? On the football field, that is. My Argentinian people, I'm not saying you're dogs or thugs, right? I get it. But please, let's not let that external factor and external mindset leach into the football field. Don't let that to change your objective way of thinking. Because I'm watching some of these games and I'm seeing some of the discourse, even amongst my friends. They're saying, oh, the game is rigged. Oh, Infantino wants him to go to the final. I'm like, guys, are we being serious? Like, some of these calls are blatantly correct. What are you complaining about? But I think people just can't wrap their head around the idea that Lionel Messi just might be doing it all over again. He just might be doing it all over again. But really and truly, Messi is just one of one. If you had any doubts coming into this tournament, and I definitely did, right? I mean, the guy's 39. In my opinion, I saw it as, you know, Messi will get maybe a few goals in this tournament. Argentina will get far because their route is kind of favorable. Probably it will be difficult once you get to the quarterfinals when you come up against a Spain, come up against a Portugal. But Portugal didn't even get it that far. Round of 32, Uruguay didn't do their job, so they didn't even play against Argentina. USA, likewise, if they had finished second, they would have played Argentina in the round of 16. So people say the path was easy, but it's not Argentina's fault people didn't do their job. It's not Argentina's fault Colombia lost to Switzerland. I think that Argentina-Colombia game would have been absolutely raucous, by the way. But Lionel Messi's still doing it, man. The goals, the ability to walk for a majority of the game and then spring up in a moment of brilliance. I mean, you look at this game against England. He was on the periphery for a large part of this game. A huge part of this game. And I think England kind of played into Argentina's hands. The opening exchanges, you looked at it, it was a physical encounter, as you'd expect from Argentina in this sort of game. Very physical, very back and forth. There wasn't a lot of quality. There wasn't a lot of goal mouth action. You knew it would be scrappy. You knew there would be fouls. And you knew that the referee would have to really take a hold of this game. But guys, that's what Argentina wants. You're looking at England getting riled up in the first half. Players are getting in each other's faces. People are fighting back and forth. I mean, that's exactly what Argentina wants. That's exactly what Argentina wants. They want it to be a fight. I mean, someone like Juliano Simeone, guys, I keep on telling you on this channel, I said it when we played against Atletico Madrid, he is not a footballer. The guy is on the field primarily to fight. He's not there. He's not concerned with the football. He's not concerned with scoring goals. He's not concerned with getting assists. He's there to make your life difficult. And that's what he did. And England, in my opinion, they played right into Argentina's hands. I've seen these sort of games before. You're playing against a team that probably doesn't have as much technical quality as you. Argentina don't have better players than England. But they have it here. They get into your head. You start misplaying passes. And then you look at the way Thomas Tuchel handled that game after they went 1-0 up. Anthony Gordon, new Barcelona man. I'm happy for him for that moment. Unfortunately, they didn't go the way they would have wanted it to. Thomas Tuchel completely threw that game away. Completely threw that game away. You go 1-0 up against this Argentina team, who in my opinion, they're not that great of a team, right? They have the grit, they have the resilience, they have the experience, they have the know-how, but on the football field, they're not that great. Against Switzerland, they could have easily lost that game if not for the red card. Against Egypt, they survived just about. And against Cabo Verde, once again, they just survived. And the common, consistent theme in all of these games is one man. And it's the man we mentioned, Lionel Messi. Guys, you look at the 2 assists he gets today. The first assist is nothing special, right? Enzo Fernandez does most of it. The England defense is so far back that Enzo Fernandez has time on the edge of the box to look up and finish brilliantly. Pickford probably should be doing better. But when you're under that much pressure, you look at the chances that Messi created prior to that. McAllister header off the post. Nicolas Gonzalez header. I can't remember who had the other head. I think it was Lisandro Martinez that Pickford had to save. You're bringing on players like Dan Burn, Nico O'Reilly. There's no outlet. You're taking off your main outlet in Gordon. No Madueke coming on today. Rashford coming on when the game's pretty much done. Dead and buried. Really questionable tactics from Tuchel today. A manager who I hold with really high regards. And I thought he could have definitely done something in this tournament. But England's tournament is over and Argentina march on. And the 2 assists, or the second assist, is probably even the best one, man. And that just continues to add to Lionel Messi's assists in the all-time leading assist-making chart, ahead of Diego Maradona and out in his own galaxy, just as he is as a player. Incredible. Weak foot, multiple players on him. Dan Burn in the box, John Stones in the box, Guehi in the box, and he puts it right there for Lautaro Martinez, right there. The guy's a phenom, man. Genuinely, I was watching the game and, you know, there are things in life that take you back to a better moment. I won't say the moment in my life now is bad, but an easier moment in life. You know, we look at things with rose-tinted glasses, whatever you look at nostalgia. But I'm watching Lionel Messi now, and I'm looking back and I'm thinking, I'm glad I enjoyed you while you were in your best, man. I'm glad I enjoyed you while you were at your best. And every game Lionel Messi plays in this World Cup, I never really had any real stakes in the game because Messi's already won the World Cup, right? We had our mountain moments, our Mount Everest with Lionel Messi. But this guy might go back to back, man. Messi, I'm fed, man. I'm already full, bro. I've already ate. Why are you giving me more food, man? It's incredible to see. It's incredible to see what Lionel Messi is doing at this age, at this point in his career, still carrying a nation on his back. And I thought it was so similar to the Diego Maradona performance against England in 1986. Coming up clutch in a brief moment of brilliance from Lionel Messi to give Argentina the victory. Should be interesting to see how the final turns out. I'm a Barcelona fan, so I win regardless. Either Messi goes back-to-back or Lamine Yamal and his boys lift that World Cup trophy for the second time in Spain's history. Let me know all your thoughts and comments down in the comment section down below. I would love to hear everything. Once again, I apologize for the huge delay and the huge, I don't even know the word to use. Gone to the wilderness. I apologize, but I'm back, and I'll be back for the final. I might make a video on the third place game, probably not, but I will definitely watch the game. And the World Cup final, be here. Again, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Algorithm. Please, guys, help me grow the channel. It means a lot when you guys subscribe, comment down, like the videos. It means a lot. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Take care of yourselves, and goodbye.